The Julian was a neighborhood movie house in Chicago. On Saturday mornings, kids bearing lunch lined up outside the theater. Inside, streaked prints of Hoot Gibson and Ken Maynard unreeled in an atmosphere redolent of milk duds and mason dots. Empty popcorn boxes flew through the darkness. Mothers prowled up and down the aisles, calling the names of unfortunates whose presence was required at home. It was at the Julian that I was introduced to Sabu, Flash Gordon, and Don Winslow of the Navy. Years later, as a wretched late adolescent, I discovered the Clark Theater. The Clark was on the backside of the Loop in downtown Chicago. The Clark had a different double bill every 24 hours, and it ran round the clock. It cost 50 cents to get in if you had a college ID card. They weren't too fussy about identification, and a little pen work on a last year's card belonging to an actual college student would do the trick. The Clark predated the art movie houses and revival houses, which are just now facing extinction. Though the regular audience no doubt included serious students of cinema, most of the people who went there didn't know that word. People lived there. It was possible to hide in the toilets during the half-hour a day the place was closed in an effort to sweep out squatters. An agile person, homeless or on the lam, could parlay his 50 cents admission into a week's rent. Hot dogs were sold in the lobby, and popcorn is nutritious. People would make friends there, meet their life partners. Undoubtedly, children were conceived. Most people would hit the Clark at a regular hour. Life in Chicago in those days didn't include much joy for the likes of me and other Clark regulars, and it would have been unthinkable to get through a day without a fantasy fix. I got to have a nodding acquaintance with people whose shift at the Clark ended at 2 a.m. when mine started. The bills were endlessly varied. There would be the predictable John Wayne Festival, a Marlon Brando double bill, Martin and Lewis, but also things unheard of. I saw the whole Apu trilogy there one night. Grand Illusion was paired with some grade B 1950s war movie. Understand, I didn't know movies were art. They were movies. I'd hardly look at the posters going in. What they had was what I'd see. So I might go in and see Battleship Potemkin along with Killers from the Red Planet, or Seven Samurai along with They Drive by Night. I saw films there I've never seen or heard of again. An actually funny German comedy called Wir Wunderkinder. An unintentionally hilarious Japanese movie called Utamaro, Painter of Women. Eroica, or the Beethoven Story, one of the only movies I've ever walked out of, not because I was dissatisfied, just the opposite. Ich habe genug, I said, and staggered out into the night. The most amazing thing that ever happened to me there was the time I walked into a Marx Brothers festival at 2 or 3 a.m. on an Arctic February night. The whole city was still, frozen solid. There was hardly an empty seat in the Clark. Harpo had the people going wild. I saw people actually staggering and rolling in the aisles. Strangers pounded each other on the back. The man in front of me turned around in his seat and grabbed me by the shoulders and stared into my face, tears of laughter streaming down his cheeks. Pandemonium, the real thing. It's impossible for me to watch the Marx Brothers now. Without that audience, there's no point, and forget television. When I was in Chicago a few years ago, the Clark was a porno house, and year before last I couldn't find it at all. Sometimes I feel that my whole purpose in life is to tell people who might not have seen it that such a place as the Clark existed. And now I've told you.